Hey guys, before the video begins, I just want to point out this app that's recently hit the App Store called Tube Alert. It's by Danny from Minecraft Finest, and I just thought I'd mention it because I've just downloaded it and it's really useful. It's basically a subscription app because we all know the subscription box on YouTube is crap at the moment and it has been for quite a while. This just gives you a notification on your phone every time one of your favourite YouTubers uploads a video, and I think that's a brilliant idea. So go and download that if you want, if you have an iPhone, or I think it's on I'm not sure. It's on iOS definitely, so if you have an iPhone or an iPod or an iPad or something like that, I'd say go and download that. The link will be in the description if you want. But anyway, back to the video. Hey guys, and welcome to the behind the scenes video for Cops and Robbers 4. Sort of keeping the tradition going. We've had one for 2 and 3, and there's quite a bit of redstone involved in this one, more than the others, so prepare for quite a long video because I'm going to be showing how the redstone at the start works and also the redstone for certain escapes, because some of the escapes are quite interesting. So to begin with, well, I suppose this is probably the simplest one to explain. If we go out here, all that is there's just a test for command. Oh, no, it's not just a test for command, so it's simpler than that. It's one of these. There we go. It just teleports everyone within a radius of 1 of the block that you're standing on, so this block. So for people who don't know, a sphere that has a radius of 1 is actually just the middle square, well, the middle block like that, and then 1 block out in every direction. So it's literally just testing for people stood on that block above it. So that's quite simple. That's all it is. While we're here, I'll just see what these are. Well, that's the saturation effect, so you never run out of hunger. That could have gone anywhere. Usually when I need something like that, I either find one of these that I've already put out, a hopper clock, or just build one randomly. So we should see these dotted around the place because I've made quite a few of them. This is an objective called Authority. This is basically what the game mode switching in Cops 2 was, and I think I used a scoreboard in Cops 3. Basically that was what you had when you had to go to the Warden's room. You got a score. Well, everyone starts out with a score of 0 in this one, except for the cop, which is a score of 1. But when you stand on the pressure plate or press the button in the warden's room, you get an authority of 1. Okay, sorry about that. There's a bit of noise going on in the background, so I'll just cut that there. So what I was saying was the authority is basically what lets you use the teleporter after they've rewired it. Now, if you don't know how the teleporter system works, we're going to get to that. So just put that to the back of your mind right now, and I'll explain that one later. And this is what I'm going to show next. This is another objective called game type. And basically, for those who don't know, in Cops 4 there are 4 different game types. So there's normal, there's classic, which is just normal cops and robbers, and then there's topsy-turvy, where there's one robber and everyone else is wardens instead. There's build-up. If you die, you respawn as a warden. And then there's club ice, which is basically the same as normal, except everyone starts in the club ice room. So they're very simple. And if you were to press 1, it lets you pick it. And yeah, that's how those work. And basically the way the game recognises which one's activated is because round here it changes your game type. It changes everyone's game type score. So yeah, all this does is this here is a device from, I think it was Mumbo Jumbo. Basically it's just a selector. That's all it does. Is it has 1 output, which in this case is classic, which is this one. And when you pick all the others, it changes which one of these is activated. These are the tell raw commands that say which one's active when you press the button, as you saw before, down there. And over here, these are the ones that change your game type score. Now, the reason it's a hopper like this is because, say if someone joins the game after it does this, they'd have a different game type score. So all this does is this constantly sets people's game type score. So if people join the server and it's on a different game type, they'll be instantly updated. And as you can see, since this is the one active, that's the one being triggered. If I was to change it, it'd be one of these and it'd be setting their game type scores instead. So that's how that works. Classic is 0 and it just goes 1, 2 and 3. So that's all that is. I'm not going to go into detail on how all that works. Just know that once you press a button, it just turns off all the others and turns that one on. It's quite simple, but yeah, we won't go into that. Moving on to the actual redstone. This is where you stand on the pressure plate, the gold pressure plate to start the game. Bit standard really to normal. That's the teleport to send people to the effects room. Okay, so they stand here. 2 command blocks get triggered first. This is to teleport everyone into this room, so in case people are in the effects room or if people have broken the glass and are down there, this teleports everyone back into the main room. And this one is the tell raw command that says, "Welcome to Cops and Robbers 4 by Podcrash." So that's all those two are for. And then we come up here. This is how you do vertical redstone, if no one knows that. And then all these redstone blocks get triggered here as well. So this adds the Warden team. It's not really needed. It's just we wanted to change the colour of the Warden's name, so that's what you need the team for. So that's the Warden team. That's the option to change. Well, yeah, to change his name. Sorry, to gold, not red. Yeah, that changes his team name. This puts friendly fire false on the Warden. It's not really needed, except for in topsy-turvy. And to be honest, that's not needed at all, that command block. I think we had it at true at one point, but some people said they wanted Wardens to be able to hit each other. So we just, rather than delete the command block, we just made it false. So that's not really needed, but that's that. And this adds an objective called death count. And that's basically used in the build-up game type. So we'll get to that later on. Over here, these are the robbers ones. So this adds the robbers team. That changes the colour to dark aqua. So their names show up as dark aqua above their name. This friendly fire true. Oh, sorry, my mistake. We set this to friendly fire false. That is needed. That's so the Wardens can't hit each other. However, over here, this is the one that's not needed. Friendly fire is true for the robbers, so that the robbers can hit each other. Again, that was false, but people said they wanted to be able to hit each other, so we made it true. This adds another objective called escaped. I'm sure you can all guess what that one's for, but basically everyone starts out as 0, and they get put to 1 when they reach one of the helicopters when they escape the map. We'll get back to that again as well. And then this one down here makes the Warden red. Okay, interesting. So we've actually got 2 different command blocks changing the colours to different ones. I believe the red one actually wins, so that's not actually needed. That was probably just a mistake. That's a mistake that I did. I didn't realise I already added the colour in, so we'll get rid of that. So yeah, it changes the colour. That's quite awkward. Yeah, anyway, moving on. These are the 4 game types. Now you may notice they all get triggered regardless, but what these are actually doing, these are test 4 commands, and they're testing for the closest person to have a game type score. So this will trigger if someone's game type score is 0, this will trigger if it's 1, this is 2, and 3. Now this is the reason why the hopper clocks over there constantly update people's game types, because someone might join, be right on the centre, and then someone might stand on the pressure plate and trigger this before their game type gets switched. Well, if their game type wasn't switched, and they might be the closest person, which means they play classic, even if they wanted to play topsy-turvy or something. So this changes their game type score, and then this triggers it. So only one of these will fire. So they're quite simple. They've only got slight variations. So this is classic. This is what the normal redstone would be. So it puts everyone on the robbers team to begin with, even the cop. Just everyone gets put on the robbers team, and then straight away the person on the pressure plate gets moved to the Warden team. So they're on the robbers team for a brief second, but then gets changed straight back. This one sets the spawn point of the robbers to the kill cell as normal, and this teleports the Warden into his kit room, and we'll come back to that in a second. Well, we'll go over to that in a second. It's that one. And then this torch then turns off, because this stays permanently on. So this torch turns off, which allows this hopper clock to start firing. Now these are just teleporting robbers to 2 different coordinates, and these will fire in one after the other, and that is basically moving the robbers to the 2 cells that they spawn in. And that's all it is there. That's all that redstone is. So classic is very simple. Topsy-turvy is pretty much the opposite. So rather than being all put on the robbers, they get put on the Wardens. Then one person gets moved to the robbers. The robber gets teleported. His spawn point gets set. And the Wardens are all teleported into the Warden's kit room. It's been built specifically so that it can have as many Wardens as we want. I think it's that one, and that's for Club Ice. Well, we'll find out. But yeah, anyway, everyone gets teleported in. All the Wardens get teleported into here, and then we'll get back to how that works later on. Next is build up. So to begin with, everyone gets put on the robbers team. Then the Warden gets put on the Warden's team. This teleports the Warden into the map. It also sets the spawn point of all the robbers. This torch turns off, which allows these to go on. That teleports all of the robbers into the map, into the 2 different cells. But also this gets triggered as well. And this teleports all robbers who have a dead score of 1 into the Warden's kit room. So that's what the death count thing was for. Everyone starts out with 0, but when a robber dies, this teleports them into here. And what that basically does is it turns them into a Warden, and that puts them back into the map as a Warden. So that's the only addition. Apart from that, that's exactly the same as Classic. It changes the spawn point of the dead robbers, pretty much. Looking back, that could be much simpler. We don't actually need the scoreboard, as I just said. That could have been set as their spawn point, but instead, what it does is when they die once, this picks it up and teleports them there instead. Same thing. It's just that could have been a little bit simpler. Oh well, we won't go into that. Forget what I just said. And then finally, Club Ice is exactly the same as Classic, except it just changes where it teleports the Warden and where it teleports the robbers. That's it. There's no need for 2 command blocks. It just teleports all the robbers to one place. So that's all the game types. I might have raced through that a little bit, but there's a lot to cover, so if you don't understand it and want to, just rewatch it, and eventually it should make sense. It depends how good my explaining is. So now we'll come down to this. This is where the Warden is teleported to when he becomes a Warden. Then, this then is a test for command. This tests for people in there. So if there are people in there, this succeeds and it sets up this clock. So this will turn on, which will turn this torch off, which then this will cycle round and will constantly trigger this command block. And what this does is it just teleports a random person in here into here, and that's what gives him his kit and what teleports him into the map. But we'll get back to that in a second. So when there's no one in there, this then turns off, and then this stops trying to teleport people, just to reduce a little bit of lag. I could have made this a constant teleporter, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, forget about that for now. We'll get back to that. That's the escape redstone. We're still doing the intro stuff for now. So out of the game types, Classic, Topsy-Turvy, and Build Up teleport the Warden to here, because then that teleports him into here, which then gives him all of his stuff. Sets a load of things, so it sets a load of his scoreboard stuff, and then finally teleports him into the map. The reason there's 2 of these each is because Club Ice works differently. For Club Ice, the Warden is teleported into here, which then teleports him into this far one. Now this far one is identical to this one, except it teleports him to the Club Ice room. Now the only things it changes are it sets his dead score to 0. That's for, of course, build up, because once he's been teleported, we don't want that thing to constantly teleport him back to it. So he gets teleported into there, and then, yeah, sets his dead score to 0 and goes back to normal. This one here sets his spawn point, just in case. I mean, on build up, he'll have a robber spawn point to begin with. This sets him to a Warden. That sets him to the Warden spawn point, so he doesn't spawn in the cell. If he was to die, he rarely would, because he's a cop. And then that sets his authority score to 1 as well, so we can use all the stuff. I should point out that there was a bit of a problem with this, and I'm not sure if the problem still persists, but there was this extra bit of redstone apparently fixes it. It was brought to my attention from a YouTuber called Froggy TV, and basically all it does is sometimes the Wardens didn't get parts of his kit. Now I'm not entirely sure why, because the pressure plate should trigger those, because the pressure plate's right next to it. But anyway, this redstone then triggers it for sure, definitely, and that apparently fixes it. So that apparently fixes it. If it still isn't fixed, let me know and I'll get it fixed. But yeah, that's how that works, and that's all the intro redstone actually. So that was probably a lot to take in, but I'm trying to be quick about it. So yeah, that's that. The exit redstone is this bit. Basically, what this does is yeah, sorry, this is the exit redstone. Basically, there are 5 helicopters in the map. Only 4 of them are accessible. There's a 5th one on the roof, which you can't get to, but I decided to work it in anyway. And that's what these 5 command blocks represent. So this is testing for robbers with an escape score of 0 in the actual cockpit. And what it does then is it turns this torch off, which then fires this. What this does is it sets their escape score to 1. And when their escape score is 1, they get all sorts of special potion effects, and that's what those are. The reason this is a hopper is because 2 people could run in there simultaneously, so this will just do it one after the other, and then it'll turn back off again. And that's basically all the escape does. You know, they get a load of effects if they're on that. And, whoops. and yeah, happy days. That also sets their spawn point as well, I believe. Yeah, spawn point. What these ones are for is this is testing for the number of robbers who have escapes. So, 1 up to 15, just because that's the maximum I could do. So when the first person escapes, this will go to 1, and it'll say the first robber has escaped, and then the second, the third, and so on. When you get to the high ones, there are a few Easter eggs, because if you're playing with 11 people or something ridiculous like that, it'll start to scream at you saying, stop playing with that many people. Just a little Easter egg. It'll be interesting to see if anyone actually finds those via playing the game. But that's how the outro redstone works. And that pretty much covers all the redstone in the map, except for the escapes. And I'm not going to do those in this video, actually. I'll do them in separate videos, and I'll probably release them later on once people have had more time to actually figure them out. So, yeah, I hope that wasn't too difficult to understand. If it is, like I said, if you just go over it again, it should be fine. But yeah, apart from that, please leave a like if you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time, guys.